By the middle of the 9th century, Viking raids had become a regular threat along the English coasts and riverways. Monasteries, towns, and trading settlements had learned to expect them during the warmer months, and many Anglo-Saxon rulers were adjusting to this new reality. But in 865, the nature of the Viking presence in England changed dramatically. What had previously been seasonal raids evolved into full-scale invasion. This was no longer just about plunder. The Vikings had come to conquer. The force that arrived in 865 was known in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle as the Great Heathen Army. Unlike previous groups of raiders, this army was large, organized, and well-equipped for a prolonged campaign. Its size is still debated, but it likely numbered several thousand men, far more than any previous Viking force. It was composed of warriors from Denmark, Norway, and possibly even Sweden. This coalition of Norse fighters was led by several prominent commanders, among them Ivar the Boneless, Halfdan Ragnarsson, and Ubba, names that would soon become infamous across the English kingdoms. The Great Heathen Army landed in East Anglia in 865. The kingdom, led at the time by King Edmund, offered little resistance. Instead of fighting, the East Anglians provided horses to the invaders, likely in an effort to avoid destruction and buy time. With supplies and transportation secured, the Viking force turned its attention northward toward Northumbria, a kingdom already weakened by internal divisions. Northumbria, once a dominant power in the early Anglo-Saxon period, was in decline by the mid-9th century. In 866, the kingdom was ruled by two rival claimants, King Osberht and King Ælla. This internal conflict had destabilized the region and left it vulnerable to outside threats. The Great Heathen Army seized the opportunity. In the autumn of 866, they marched on York, the heart of Northumbrian power. At the time, York was one of the largest and most important cities in England. But in November 866, York fell to the Vikings with little resistance. The Norsemen fortified the city, establishing it as a base for further operations. Realizing the severity of the threat, the rival Northumbrian kings, Osberht and Ælla, set aside their differences and joined forces to retake the city. In early 867, they led a combined army against the Viking-held York, but the attack ended in disaster. The Northumbrian forces were lured into the city, where the Vikings used the narrow streets and fortified walls to their advantage. In the ensuing battle, both Osberht and Ælla were killed. According to some later Norse sagas, Ælla met a particularly gruesome end, supposedly executed by the Vikings using the Blood Eagle ritual. The Viking army installed a puppet ruler, Egbert, and took firm control of the region. With York as their stronghold, the Norse began integrating themselves into the political landscape of Northumbria. Meanwhile, the remaining Anglo-Saxon kingdoms were left reeling. The fall of Northumbria was a shock. No other English kingdom had yet suffered such a complete collapse at the hands of the Norse. For the first time, it was clear that the Viking threat extended far beyond raids. This was organized war, and the Great Heathen Army was just getting started. In the next episode, we will follow the Viking advance into Mercia and East Anglia, and see how King Edmund would become both a martyr and a symbol of resistance against the Norse invaders.